start gushing over Emery Winston. Interesting height and weight too, 6'1", 260. Yeah, that's beefy. Also, watch out for freshman 5-star Khalid Glock and tight end Nick Townsend, who enrolled this summer. Yes. So we might as well talk about the tight ends. And I think it's a really, really deep and talented room. Again, the problem is experience here. There's really only one guy with experience, and that's incoming tight end Jack Endries, who I'm on record, I think is going to have the best season in the history of Texas football for a tight end. I will continue to say that because I believe it. I think he's going to have a really, really successful season. And that's kind of, the past month has been getting stamped by people who have watched practices and interacted with the staff. They like what they've seen from Jack Endries a lot. They're talking Mackey with him, which means the best tight end in America, which I could definitely see. I think he's super talented. But after that, it gets interesting. Is it Spencer Shannon? Is it Jordan Washington? Is it Nick Townsend, who has also been talked about a lot, brought up without being, prompted to? He's being talked about as special teams and tight end by Jeff Banks. So who do you think ends up being tight end 2 here, Gerald?
Yeah, and there was a lot of talk. Jordan Washington was another guy who was kind of brought up unprompted by Steve Sarkisian in their comments. Jordan Washington is up to 264, playing a 6'4", 264. That's a big boy. And I think the only thing that's going to keep Jack Endries from winning the Mackey Award is that if Jordan Washington plays up to the level that I think we've wanted to see him play for multiple years now. Jordan Washington is a guy who came in with a lot of expectation from guys like me who were kind of recruit nicks who've seen and looked at him and were like, hey, that guy's got a lot of, what you want to see from a frame. And he got some run even when he was a little bit smaller and a little bit less consistent. The easiest way to get on the field as a Steve Sarkisian tight end is to be an elite blocker, right? And that's one of the things that I think Jordan Washington bulked up to do, right? You can't mass moves mass, period, end of sentence, right? I did powerlifting for a while, and that's part of mass moves mass. And so being at 264, being able to come in and be an inline blocker while also still having and retaining some of the speed and athleticism that got him to that, right outside of the top 250, he's got the ability to be a difference maker for the offense. So I'm pushing my chips in on Jordan Washington. And again, I've said it before, Steve Sarkisian loves 2 tight end sets. So being able and having the flexibility of being able to put Endries and Washington on both sides, have an extra blocker, create numbers advantages as they're trying to establish some of the running game. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting because he comes in as like more of a pass catcher, and then he puts on 45 pounds. So I don't know if he's able to retain, that athleticism that he does have. That's a lot of weight to put on that frame. And he has the frame to put on weight, but I was thinking more 245, 250. And I think it's this. Jeff Howe said this, and I think it's the best question someone could ask about this is Spencer Shannon going to be good enough of a pass catcher to get on the field, and is Jordan Washington going to be good enough a blocker? Whoever answers that question of those two is who will be tight end number 2. If Spencer Shannon can catch the football average for a tight end, he will be in there because he's a really good blocker. If Jordan Washington can block average for a tight end, he will be in there because he's a really good pass catcher. I don't know who's going to answer that question. I do agree. I'm more of the Jordan Washington side of this thing because I think it's easier to learn how to block than it is, just all of a sudden become a great pass catcher at the tight end position. I think that's kind of a little bit harder thing to do personally, but we'll see what Jeff Banks thinks here. Now, at the end of the day, I think Nick Townsend at the end of the year will probably be tight end 2 because I think that guy's a freak, and I think he can be kind of the best of both worlds.
And here's my I don't know if you need to be the elite athlete at tight end in this offense, right? Because as good as Jatavian Sanders was as a pass threat, my biggest issue with him was how his inability to block, right? He was a liability. Let's just go ahead and say it. Where Gunnar Helm played at 250, 252-ish, I think, last year, and was an elite tight end and got himself drafted. Now, I'm not saying that Jordan Washington or Jack Endries are going to be that kind of player, but Gunnar Helm has shown that you don't need to be this elite, explosive, pass-catching athlete. He was consistent. He made the easy catches. He made the hard catches look easy, and he got extra yards when he could. And that's really what you need to be as a tight end in this offense. And so, again, like you said, I think it's easier to learn how to block. I think one of Jordan Washington's biggest issues, frankly, probably was size. He came to Texas a little bit undersized to be a tight end in this offense, or at least to be an effective tight end in this offense, because you have to be a next-level kind of athlete like Jatavian Sanders to be able to be in that spot. So, ultimately, I think I would much rather have a guy who maybe he is a step slower than he was at 220 or whatever. But I'll take a step slower and still able to catch the ball and put your mitts on it. And now you have the mass to block an edge or a linebacker off the edge to set an edge for your running backs who are trying to find a zone seam.
No, I agree. And I will say this. I think Jack Andrews will get drafted higher than Gunnar Helm, and I think he'll have just as good, if not better, of a season. I think I'm really high on him. Like, I'm going to just keep saying it until it happens, because it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Just wait. I'll be the one that was driving this train. I said it before anyone else. I'm #1 fan club. I need a shirt, but that does it for the tight end battle.